Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of the Wrestling Underground podcast. It is your 2023 year-end review in February, because we're just perpetually late. I am your host, as always, Chad Porto. Joining me is the glorious one himself, Mark Screen. Marcus, how are you?
Going good, man. Is this our official first show back of the new year? No,
No, because we covered Hard to Kill.
of course not. But yeah, man. We take time off. You folks know we always come back with a bang, and it's a hell of a. It's been a hell of a couple weeks. As a wrestling
Well,
fan.
and my work schedule is going to go back to normal starting today. I am no longer imprisoned in the mart of walls. After last night, I decided I couldn't take it anymore, and the utter issues I was having with management, just basically forgetting we existed in the back, took its toll. Decided I don't need the extra income on top of what I was already making at my actual job, and yeah, so I'm gonna be dedicating a little bit more time to my side hustles, like the show, the site, and a few other places on top of my sports writing stuff. So
Nice. But now I can't get out of my head just imagining you and sitting in the middle in the back on a white floor doing your own pipe bomb.
and what they don't want to tell you is that the employee discount only accounts for the tax. Yeah, this is where the truth bombs come. CM Punk out for 4 months. That sucks. I wasn't looking forward to his feud with Seth because, like, Seth could cure cancer, and I'd be like, all right, yeah, but still Seth. He's a Nazi fucker.
Yeah, but look what he was wearing when he did it.
Yeah, that's not untrue. I'll tell you what, though, I'm excited to see what Punk can do, and apparently he may be coming back to television in a non-wrestling role while he heals. I don't mind that because his commentary was great. John, my diet soda, John. So I'm excited about that. We'll get to the Vince and Cody, not stuff because that insinuates that they're together. There's the Vince conundrum, which we've talked about multiple times over the years. He's a terrible fucking person, and he's covered up a lot of nonsense. Then we'll talk also about why people should not be mad, quote unquote, at the Cody stuff and the quote unquote Vince stuff on the same level. I too am miffed of the Cody situation, but I am outraged over the Vince stuff. You cannot, in fact, be mad at the same degree at two different things when they are drastically different elements. But we'll get to that. First, we're going to talk about the year-end awards. We used to do them in December, and now we're doing them in February. That seems very much us. As always, the awards, and we've been doing this since 2010. So I think this is our 14th year doing the awards. I mean, I'm proud of that. We've and if you look back at our awards, we don't get it wrong, ever. And I think that's the one thing that I'm truly proud of. Like when you look at Wrestler of the Year, just going back from 2022 to 2010, Roman Reigns back to back, Moxley in 2010, Callahan in 19, Cody in 18. Callahan won the title I think in 19, and Cody won the NWA title in 18. I'm pretty sure Eli won the world title in 2017 because I had like 16 different names that year. AJ Styles was, I think, 2016 when he defeated John Cena, like 2 out of 3 times they faced. EC3 winning the belt in 2015. Styles winning the TNA World title at the close 2013, heading into 2014 as champion, then winning the title again in New Japan. Daniel Bryan in 2013, I want to say that was when he won the WWE Championship at WrestleMania. No, that was when he won the world title at SummerSlam. Styles edged out Bryan in 2014. That's right. That makes sense. Austin Aries in 12, Punk in 11, and Angle in 10. I feel like we hit. I don't think there's a single name on there if you watch more than just one promotion. If you watch multiple promotions and you know of these guys' stories in that year, you know that we got it right every time. Every time. Just how we do. This year, no different. With that said, let's get through these because we got a lot. Marcus, Wrestler of the Year nominees were Will Ospreay, Gunther, Eddie Kingston, Alex Shelley, MJF, and Sonata. These are not in winning order; these are just in the order. We did what do they call it? Weighted voting, like we did last year, which I like because it allows us to have a better idea on who really has the support.
Yeah.
Marcus, I'll be honest with you, this one was very close. Will Ospreay nearly won it, but Gunther took it home. Though that being said, Ospreay did have the most, because we have 6 candidates per voting block, or what is it, voting pool, if you will. Like for each category, we have 6 options. Will Ospreay had the most, for sure, on the 6s. Gunther just had enough to surpass him barely. Then Shelley came in 3rd, Sonata 4th, Kingston 5th, and MJF came in last. Apparently, MJF didn't have the support of the voting committee as we would expect. Gunther, though, is I think the first person to ever win this award who did not win a world title in the voting block period, which I think is fascinating. It just shows you how good he's been all year. Are you surprised Gunther won?
No, I mean there was no bad options, man. I mean the guy's been maybe single-handedly the best booked or one of the best booked guys going right now. Period. Across the industry, and Ospreay has just been, having a banner year. He had a banner year, so there was no bad option there. And then Shelley did his thing as world champion. MJF was in our face a lot, but that don't mean it was good. So you know. And who was the other nominee?
It was Ospreay, Gunther, Kingston, Shelley, MJF, and Sonata.
Yeah, Kingston. Yeah, like I said, hell of a year. But I just I think Gunther and Ospreay just they was at another bar. They was at a different gear. I mean, Gunther single-handedly put that Intercontinental Championship back where it used to be, where it needs to be. So, I don't think nobody's done that no matter how many times Miz has had it or, some other folks. It's just, it ain't, that title needed him, you know?
Yeah, and the Miz being Intercontinental Champion has always been overrated, in my opinion. Just not someone I think has moved the needle. And I'm tired of the, well, he's improved so much. He was ass. Now he's garbage. I know you can enjoy him, by all means, but he's not a good athlete. And it has been evident since he joined the promotion. And ever since he tried to be this faux A-lister, I think he's lost something. He was better when he was a grimy, grungy, social media, internet guy from MTV. That whole shtick was a lot better, but what are you going to do? Most consistent performer, these are the guys that stand out the most every year, who have the best matches. The nominees from top to bottom are Will Ospreay, Gunther, Athena, Samoa Joe, El Hijo del Vikingo, and Josh Alexander. Edging out Alexander by just a smidge was Will Ospreay. He barely won the Wrestler of the Year. He wins the most consistent performer, and if you just watch his TNA stuff, which is like 4 matches, you wouldn't even disagree. The dude puts on banger after banger. He's the best. Excuse me. He's the best athlete in wrestling right now. And considering how many great athletes we have in the sport these days, that is saying something. It's not like in 1999 where you're like, oh yeah, Rey Mysterio is the best athlete in wrestling. Yeah, but compared to who? 50-year-old Flair, 48-year-old Hogan, 40-year-old Nash. Come on.
Yes. I mean, I think, like you said, we haven't missed yet with these awards, and you look at these lists. I mean, it kind of tells you, wrestling's been hotter than it's ever been. Because, you got multiple guys that could take those awards on, which just means across the board, we've had some great stuff to watch. No matter what scuttlebutt's been building up one place or another, we've had some great stuff across the board. And Ospreay, like I said, had a banner year, came in TNA, and I think got to do proud that little boy that was watching TNA, or that young man that was watching TNA and wanted to be there. Finally got to live that dream, and he did a hell of a thing going out the door. You know.
Unfortunately, he's now going to be in AEW, and that's not going to be fun. Speedball won it last year, for those wondering. Tag Team of the Year. This one goes to a variety of options. We have ABC, FTR, The Rascals, MCMG, MK Ultra. The year of the abbreviations. And the six-man team of Tanahashi, Okada, and Ishii. I think that's the first time we had a three-man team for the award. I'd like to see that more often. Unsurprisingly, it's Ace Austin and Chris Bay, ABC. They win the tag team of the year. They just actually no, this is pretty controlling. The Rascals and MK Ultra came in second, tied. Then the Machine Guns, FTR, and then Tanahashi and Okada Ishii. Actually, Okada Ishii and Tanahashi tied with FTR. So I'm not surprised about that. Any thoughts on that one, Marcus?
But ABC cemented themselves to me certainly last year. Just one of the best tag teams in across the industry anywhere. You know, I put them against anybody from any promotion. I've seen some great stuff from a lot of stuff, and then I just like tag team wrestling in general. But those two they kicked it up to a different gear, and they've been on a different level. So, not surprised.
So we're gonna run through some of these a little bit faster until we get to the meat and potatoes of the awards. The indie/developmental wrestler of the year goes to Ilya Dragunov, who obviously he just had banger after banger. To this point in the awards, Dragunov has received the most points, though there are a few guys who won it outright with everyone voting for them. Let's see. Brian Keith came in second. His impact, no pun intended, on AEW has been well felt, and he been suggested to be in a stable with Hangman and Bandito.
I think so. I'm not sure about that because they very much got Hangman because they do this weird old ranking system that they got in AEW. So that may be rumored. I wouldn't be surprised if the narrative is that after this third match, we're going to seemingly be done with Hangman in the title picture, the main title picture, which I hope we are. So I wouldn't put that past him.
I'd like to see that trade.
Yeah, I guess that keeps the cowboy shit narrative going.
Foreign Company Wrestler of the Year. This is for anyone who's outside the United States. Sonata took home the award. Again, falling just 1 point shy of maxing out. He was the definitive pick. El Hijo del Vikingo came in second. Julia came in 12th. I think that's a pronounced name. Yuma Ayugai, I think I fucked that up, came in next. Jake Lee 5th, and Sasha Banks last. Mic Worker of the Year. This one goes to L.A. Knight. Yeah. He is now a 3-time winner of the award. He was Eli Drake the first 2 times he won it. Samoa Joe came in 3rd. Christian came in 2nd. Christian and LA Knight went toe-to-toe for that award. Legitimately. Eddie Kingston came in 4th. Joe Hendry came in 5th. That broke my heart a little bit. And Dirty Dango, who I put on the list only because I think he had a very under recognized 2023 as a mic worker. And I really enjoy his pro wrestler who hates wrestling gimmick. So that's why he made it. But I'm not surprised a lot of people didn't have the same support for him. I did. That takes us to best gimmick. Runaway was Christian with the dead, I'll be your new dad after dead dad storyline. Tony Storm came in 2nd. I accidentally marked her as the winner, but that's not how you do math, Chad. Some numbers are bigger than other numbers. My bad. So Christian takes home that one with Tony Storm 2nd, Joe Hendry 3rd, Swerve and Julia Hart coming in tied for 5th, and then last is Crazy Steve. Are you surprised Christian's heel turn has been as good as it has been?
A little bit, just because it's been a while since I've seen him in that role, but the level I think of commitment and just consistency that he's had with it, is just proof of the work ethic that he's really shown, whether he's been heel or face. for years. So, um, like I say, it's been something to see. But I think more so than anything, I think Edge commented on this, and I think this is something we've been talking about for a long time, and we both can appreciate. He doesn't want to be a likable heel. You know what I'm saying? He's not a tweener. He doesn't want
Mm-hmm.
to be in between. He's wearing a. He comes out on weekly television with a turtleneck with no sleeves. There's nothing about him that he wants you to like. So, yeah, he definitely deserves that award for sure.
And God bless him. He's doing the Lord's work. Arrival of the year, CM Punk to WWE obviously takes that one. You know, we all agreed on that one for the most part. The only other one who got a first place vote was Trinity, but she came in third. Edge came in second. Mercedes, and then Frankie, and then actually no, Jay White to AEW. Then tied for last was Mercedes and Frankie. Obviously, CM Punk was going to win that. Just the magnitude of his name. It was kind of. It's one of those where it's like, hey, yeah, we had a great season, but you know, like 2 years ago, like when Aaron Judge, what was it, hit like 65 or something home runs. Yeah, everyone. You had like six other guys who had great MVPs. You're not beating a season like that from Judge, and I feel like that's the equivalent for CM Punk, unfortunately, because we had a lot of great candidates for that one. Comeback of the year goes to Josh Alexander. He missed a good chunk of the season, or of the year, I should say, with an injury, forcing stupid Steve Macklin to win the world title over Kushida, which eventually saw Macklin drop the belt to Shelley, which is ironic because Shelley and Randy Orton both tied for second. They both tied for fourth, with CM Punk coming in second, Orton, Shelley, and then Eric Young, and then dead last is Charlotte. Alexander, while he hasn't won the world title since coming back, he has had bangers with Mike Bailey, Will Ospreay, Alexander Hammerstone. Granted, that's 2024. Who did he? He faced Shelley at Bound for Glory, didn't he?
Yeah,
Yeah, so it was
yeah.
Alex Shelley, Will Ospreay, Speedball. I think he and Gresham tied up. So, like, there's been a lot of really impressive matches from Josh since he's come back. So I'm not surprised he won that at all. What about you? Shocker for Josh Alexander?
No, anytime the man wins the award, he's one of the best in the industry. Period. I saw one of those accounts say like he was the best signing under the Anthem era. Uh,
I would say
Pretty sure
so.
that's a discussion to be had, but much like you, I 100% agree that he is calling the Iron Man for a reason, and he's definitely cementing himself as one of the guys that you're going to think about when you talk about this company and years to come.
Speaking of guys to speak of for years to come, Chris Sabin takes home our lower card standout award. This is, of course, for the awards for guys who were C or D tier players for the year, were on the undercard, and would generally not be recognized in any other category. Braun Breaker, who granted is a top guy in NXT, but being the top guy in NXT is still being the most handsome dude at the ugly table, so to speak. The Creed brothers came in third, Joe Hendry fourth, Willow Nightingale fifth, and Daniel Garcia came in last. Just to get on the nominee board, though, means something. So even though like Daniel Garcia and Willow Nightingale were at the bottom of the award, it does still say a lot that we acknowledge them over so many other potential talents. And Marcus, I think you'll be happy, very happy with the female wrestler of the year. The winner goes to Athena. That one shocked me a little bit. Not gonna lie.
Doing
That
they should, over there doing the most with the least, man. That we told.
you wouldn't even know she was wrestling, considering how little AEW focuses on Ring of Honor and how little Ring of Honor gets in terms of notoriety. You would think
It's
that, you know, Tony Khan would be like, "This is a great product. I want it on television." Not, I'm gonna pass and then let NXT go to the CW. You would think.
it's the weirdest thing. I just thought about it. They own Ring of Honor, but they're treating it like they did Impact.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Tony Khan's not a great booker. Second place went to Rhea Ripley. Third went to Jordan Grace. That was my pick. Fourth went to Trinity, Statlander, and Deanna Prazo round out the six. Bust of the year. I like to call this the McMahon Award
The
because
McMahon.
the McMahon. Uh, the top three vote getters were Austin Theory, who won the award. Shocking. Grayson Waller, who came in second, and J.D. McDonough, or McDumbass, as someone liked to coin it. Those were all guys that like Vince was very high on, so that's pretty funny to me. Jimmy Uso, Jay White, Taya Valkyrie round out the top six. The first three names, McDonough, Theory, and Waller. I mean, flip a coin. McDonough's most noteworthy contribution to wrestling is being the Wish.com version of Finn Balor, and once telling Cody Rhodes that he wasn't wanted in Ireland when Cody was doing his indie tour after his WWE departure in, what was that, 2017? So it kind of goes to show you how little relevance he has. And apparently he's in what is it, the Dark Order, the Bloodline, the Dark Line, the Blood Order.
JD is like the low level Nomu of Finn Balor, who's a high end.
I wouldn't even call him a Nomu. He's like the little girl who was with the gentleman villain.
La Brava.
Yeah, he's the La
The gentle
Brava
criminal. Yeah.
to Damian Priest's, Nomu, high end Nomu.
Oh, God. The sex dungeon golf Nomu with the Undertaker drip.
Oh God. Female feud of the year: Deanna Praza, Jordan Grace takes home the award. This one is our first unanimous selection, and just the matches alone, fantastic. Athena versus Billy Starks came in second, very close. That one did very well with the voters. Trinity versus the Edwards came in third. Chris Statlander, Willow, and versus Mercedes and Diamante came in fourth. Mickey and Trinity came in fifth, and Rhea Ripley and Charlotte came in last. Male feud of the year: Frankie Kazarian and Eddie Edwards wins. I did not see that coming at all. Second up was Edge and Christian. Adam Copeland and Christian Cage. My bad. Carmelo Hayes and Ilya Dragunov. Adam Page and Swerve came in next, followed by Roman Reigns and Jey Uso. MJF and Adam Cole came in last. So, any shockers there, Marcus?
No, I mean when you look at it, in terms of like going for a long stretch of period, like it really felt like that Kazarian and Edwards had like a real feud. Some of those names had like spurts and instances, but it really felt like Kazarian and Edwards had been going for months. So a lot of those kind of came in like burst little moments at the end of the year, in the middle or something like that. But Eddie and Frankie had like a feud and like a hell of a blow off.
They had the most unique set of matches. They had the most varied set of matches. Their wives got involved. They were both Kowalski students. There's a lot of lineage in this feud, and I loved it. By the way, I forgot to mention the remainders of the Indie Developmental Wrestler of the Year. It was Dragunov, Brian Keith, Tiffany Stratton, Matt Cardona, Jack Vaughn, and Blake Christian in that order. So I wanted to add that before we got any further, because we're down to the big two, the big three, my bad. News story of the year. Now, obviously, I think the Vince McMahon WWE sex trafficking case is going to be number one, and I'm going to start compiling ideas for next year's list already, or this year's list, I should say. But this year, Vince McMahon got ousted and then returned, and that didn't seem to be as big of a news story as CM Punk getting fired from WWE. Fired from AEW. When you beat up Jack Perry and then lose to Samoa Joe to open up the biggest show of the year for your company, yeah, it's going to be number one, except for this year. Number two was the return of TNA. Nearly beat out everything else, but the CM Punk story had a little bit more legs. CM Punk returning to WWE came in third. Vince getting out, it came in fourth. The fifth spot goes to the NWA fumbling of their CWTV deal. And then last went to Hiroshi Tanahashi becoming the president of New Japan. So I think all in all, these are, I think those are the 6 biggest news stories of the year, personally. And I'm very interested to see what happens this year, if anything can top the Vince McMahon story of 2024. Marcus, you voted, if I remember correctly, for the return to TNA. Are you surprised that Punk getting fired topped the return to TNA?
No, no, because he just carries that much.
Swag.
He carries that much cachet in the industry. Even if I'm not that big a fan of the guy, I never deny his connection with the audience and his importance within the wrestling zeitgeist. And he managed to maintain that industry whether he's on the shelf or not. He's just that guy. He's like the Taylor Taylor Swift on the damn playoffs
I mean, that's fair. That's a fair
all,
comparison.
all the time.
I think the reason why the Punk firing was more monumental was because of the ramifications it had against the large industry. TNA made an offer to him. His return to WWE shook everything up and actually more than likely helped him land that deal with who was it? Amazon? No, Netflix. They're going to be airing Raw on Netflix, and I guarantee CM Punk was part of the reason that happened. He's one Bill Phil for a reason. And also,
Yeah.
negativity seems to be the stronger news element. The return to TNA, and I didn't vote for that as high. I placed it fourth on my voting pool, and that's because while it's a huge story for fans, it is just a rebranding. It's not like it was sold to a better or a deeper company with bigger pockets. It's not like it ended up on a bigger network. Most of what we were seeing in 2023 is still going on. It's just different color structure, which I love. I love the red and yellow. Different
Yeah.
logo, different banner, different set, but still the same product. Love it. I love the return. But as far as the news story goes, compared to what we had this year,
Yeah,
it came in fourth for me.
no, you're absolutely not wrong. When you look at it as just a rebranding, but it is. I do think like between the color scheme and just bringing back those letters in general, it is. But bringing it back with the level of pertinence, relevance, and consistency that they built under under the Impact name. It feels like now it's like two big middle fingers are probably two of the worst things that ever happened to the company, being Russo and Hogan.
Yeah.
So, those letters with those colors, it feels, like a tip of the hat. But yeah, you're not wrong about it. And I also think with the whole Punk situation, now that we're talking about it, it was never supposed to happen
Mm-hmm.
because it was so um on the other side and supposed to be the complete antithesis of what happened with him when he left WWE. That it was supposed, it was supposed to be sunshine and rainbows and all that whole thing, and it was not that. So it really had and specifically how it ended up going down. Like everything felt like what we heard was either worse or about what we heard. So yeah, like I said, like you said, call it one Bill Phil. Like I said, even if he's on the shelf, he's still carrying that amount of cachet. Like the only thing I feel like has topped most things around him has been what's going on in the last week and a half. So
And you're not wrong. So that takes us to match of the year. Let's see. Last year the winner was Alexander Edwards from Bound for Glory. Sadly for me, that the main event of Bound for Glory did not even make the list. We had some pretty big bangers this year. We're going to go in ascending order from here on out. The last match of the year went to Muda and Shinsuke. They were at the bottom of the list. Hell of a match, though. Danielson and Sabre Jr. came in fifth. The Killer Impact, Frankie Kazarian and Eddie Edwards match came in fourth. Third went to Carmelo Hayes and Ilya Dragunov, the sequel. Will Ospreay versus Josh Alexander from the first Impact after Bound for Glory, I think is when that was, comes in second. And then, granted, not the main event, still a Bound for Glory match. Will Ospreay versus Mike Bailey from Bound for Glory came in first. You happy with that selection?
yeah, man. I mean, look. First of all, anybody listening, if you haven't, Go watch all these matches.
They're all good.
Find some time if you got to do it, throughout the course of a week. Just go watch these matches. Because they all hit different. But again, the fact that Ospreay is in two of them speaks to the type of the battle year we said he had, and then one way or another every year Alexander's mentioned in this, which again speaks to his prowess. So not mad at this at all. You go back, you watch that match. They Undertaker Shawn Michaels the show.
Yeah. And that, to be fair, Shelley Alexander was still fantastic. It really was.
No, absolutely.
Most popular of the year last year, I want to say it was Roman. It was Sami Zayn. Roman never won the award. Here's the one time we may have gotten it wrong. 2019, Tessa Blanchard. Oh. To be fair, that was right before she imploded.
Yeah, we was biased, but the girl was out.
I don't think we were biased. I think we were right at the time. That's how well received she was in the industry. She fucked that up. But looking back, like you'd rather not have that blemish because of just
Yeah, it's one of those, and that was us voting, even with us not necessarily being that high on the intergender stuff that we was getting. Not all of it anyway. I think a lot of it obviously worked with Callahan, but that's the tip of the hat to Callahan. But even with all that, I mean, she just had a wave of momentum and consistency that you rarely see, particularly with her ability at her young age. So, yeah, nobody fumbled that ball harder than she did. Yeah, who ended up edging it out here?
This year, in ascending order, MJF came in last. Seth Rollins came in second to last. Fuck them both. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Carmelo Hayes came in last. I'm the only one that didn't give him a single point. So, I feel like I should... I'm patting myself on the back on that one. Everyone else gave him singles. I had him third on my list. Carmelo Hayes came in last, then MJF, then Seth Rollins. They were 2 and 1 on my list, respectively. CM Punk came in third. Cody, second. And the winner, one of the few perfect scores for the year, goes to one L.A. Knight. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we are fans of Mr. L.A. Knight. I'm hoping the 6th day of Black History Month, I'm hoping that Moose, and especially John Gresham, can get back into the award conversations, because I didn't like not having Gresham the most consistent performer, because I think he's a top 5 guy in the world today. And I'm really curious what Moose and what's the system can do this year. I'm curious.
Well, I mean, Impact has Jonathan Gresham, Mike Bailey, and Josh Alexander.
Yeah, that's
three are the best anywhere, and they should be in our face on that brand as much as MJF was last year in AEW with Cole and that whole friendship BS. So, they definitely need to do more regret. I mean, I don't know why they wouldn't do a thing, because I mean, at one point, Macklin and his lovely wife were champion.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why you wouldn't attempt to do that with him and Grace. But you can't have somebody as talented as John Gresham under contract and misuse him. So I'm hoping they got something planned.
You hope, but Gresham's been not used well, and I don't know if that's because they can't get him under a deal that they like, or maybe he's been injured. I don't know why they've been so spotty with his booking. And that's the thing that I would like to see more of, is more consistent booking from him going forward. It's a small request, but I think it's a fair one. All right, that wraps up the year-end awards. Let's move on to the current talking point on the internet. Cody, The Rock, Vince McMahon. The TLDR of it, Cody won the Royal Rumble. He's not going to WrestleMania. He gave his spot to The Rock. That was stupid. The Rock was picked to return at the start of January to headline against Roman Reigns. And yet they still had Cody win the Rumble. Don't know why. Don't care why. Stupid. around the same time as The Rock naming himself the main event of WrestleMania, coming back and joining the board of TKO, as well as getting the rights to his name, we find out that Vince McMahon will face a federal investigation for sexual abuse, sexual assault, sex trafficking, and everything under the sun. People should be prepared for this story. The Cody Rock Roman of it all, it's a D tier story in the realm of legitimate news. It may be the only thing that weeboos or wrestle weirdos, I'm trying to think of a new term. I'll come up with something eventually. It may be something that the fanaticisms of the WWE may care about, but it's not actually news. This would be akin to, oh my god, they killed my favorite character on that TV show. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter, like, at all. It's a production. It's a story. It does not fucking matter. Vince McMahon allegedly committed a bunch of heinous acts, and when the FBI, when the federal prosecutors, when all of them get involved, and you realize how many people have dirt on their hands, this company is going to look vastly different, I would say, in the next 9 months. And I don't think a lot of guys are going to survive it. People like, I think Triple H is done. Stephanie, I think, is done. Randy Orton, I think, is done. And that's just the start. All those internal investigations are now going to be re-looked at through federal eyes. Because all of those were either done by Vince, went through Vince, was approved by Vince, or involved Vince. And all those stories, they're going to come back to light. All the times we heard about wrestlers harassing women on the roster, Sean Waltman, defecating in a bag, Randy Orton pulling his dick out in front of people. All those stories are going to come back, but with so many more eyes on it than ever before.
God bless the dead, Ashley. Yeah.
What was that?
Well, I just said God bless the dead with Ashley, that story.
Yeah, the stuff with the military and Ashley. But it's going to get deeper. The racist stuff with Bobby Lashley in 2008 when Crystal Marshall, all the times that wrestlers were subjected to nonsense, the steroid allegations are going to come back, the Ring Boy scandal is going to get re-looked at. This is the end. Maybe not of the company, but as you knew it. I would be surprised if we don't go into 2025 with an entire top-tier group of guys running this company who have had no prior experience with the WWE or maybe even pro wrestling. I would be flabbergasted if Nick Khan has clean hands. And I would be flabbergasted if we didn't find out about the dearth, not the dearth, but the excess of information that was withheld, buried, ignored. Like, you cannot be in this company and you cannot know of the situations that we know of and not think that other people have some type of blood on their hands. Like, think about the whole Randy Orton of it all. Freddie Prinze Jr. all but confirmed that Orton walked around with his dick out. That's sexual harassment, at the least. And the WWE, quote unquote, had an investigation. And then Randy Orton went shaking people's hands when they announced they were going to investigate him because he knew it was a farce. We all knew it was a farce. You don't think that shit's going to come back up?
Yeah, this might not be too high on the totem pole, but what happened to that whole thing with Hayes and the young lady with the alcohol issue?
That'll come up. I'm sure it will. Who was that? Eva? No.
Rosa. Mendez? Yeah.
Is that who it was? Rosa Mendez? There's going to be so many things that get reopened up. If you thought Me Too or Time's Up, whichever one was the pro wrestling version, if you think that was big, and I don't want to say damaging because it was actually a cleansing act, but there will be far more, whatever you want to call it, cleansing, damage, retribution, highlights. Well, I don't know what you want to call it or what you want to refer to it as. Spotlighting, not highlighting. Spotlighting, whatever you want to call it. It's going to be worse. This company may not survive the year. I am not being hyperbolic. I am concerned that the amount of information that's going to come out from all of these reports, all the people who turned a blind eye, maybe Triple H didn't get his hands dirty, at least as an executive. We know he's dirty as a human being. I mean, he gaslit China into a drug addiction. Let's be honest on that one. There's going to be a lot that comes out over the next 12 months, at least. People whose lives were destroyed, like Ashley Massaro, Amy Weber, Dolph Ziggler's brother, Ryan Nemeth. He got fired because he voiced an issue with Bill DeMott and the NXT training staff, and he did it publicly. And he was let go shortly thereafter, and then Triple H buried him. All these things are going to come back out. These guys knew it. Triple H knew what was going on. William Regal knew what was going on. You kidding me? These guys are the legacies that are going to be destroyed, justifiably so, over the next 12 months, will shock you. And that's just from the stuff that I know has happened, that I've talked to people about. People that I can't mention because I never asked them if I could. And as somebody who's trying to develop a history, a reputation of being a fair and honest writer in the world of news, I ain't gonna butcher that, but I'm telling you, if those stories that I know come to light, everything you love about this company will be ripped to shreds, torn asunder, and deals after deals will likely be broken. Because so many people are on the verge of being exposed for the creeps that they are.
And more than ever before this point, they can't afford bad PR because this is the biggest they've ever been business wise.
Yep, they're doing their best house shows. They're doing their best commercials, not their commercial, but their best commercial revenue. They're doing crazy merchandise, absurd merchandise. It is not to the peak of viewership that it was in the 90s in terms of like it's what's the word I'm looking for? It's impact on the culture and society. Yeah. The late 90s was far more impactful. But as far as a revenue generating system, never been bigger. As far as the talent, never been more talent. A lot of that's going to change in the next 12 months. We'll see what this company looks like this time next year.
Yeah.
But be worried. If you're a fan of this company, be worried.
And don't do the whole thing about the damn why now and all that mess. Look, man, we talked about it when it first came out. That first season of Dark Side of the Ring alone.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing that kept coming up with all the effery, with the darkness within those stories, was Vince.
Mm-hmm.
He was the consistent through line, and that immediately stuck out to me. I'm like, this a-hole was either in the background, filtering stuff, dipped his toe in it, dipped out, or directly just overlooked stuff, or aided people in getting out of it. Like, it's I don't know how people even remotely think that stuff wouldn't happen. Look at all the damn storylines that we've seen him be involved with over the years. Having a side kissing, doing freaky stuff with your side chick in front of your paralyzed wife. He all but had literal sex with Candice Michelle on screen. Like,
all that's true. Let me just point this out. It's not now. Like it's not why now. In the 80s alone, Vince McMahon paid off, allegedly, at the very least, did not stop using Jimmy Snuka after he allegedly killed his mistress, covered up, and ushered in, or I should say, ushered the return of Pat Patterson after the Ring Boy scandal. Go look that up. That destroyed a lot of lives. The steroids of the 80s, the drug use in the 80s, the sexual, Sheik, Iron Sheik, told a story about how in the 80s he knocked out a stripper who was high on something, and it was played for laughs. Like, this isn't why now. This has been why hasn't happened sooner. You might be, well, WWE's at the highest it's ever been, and yada yada yada. And why now? Why did it take this long? That's what I'm asking. This should have been resolved in the 80s.
Exactly.
So if it's got to be resolved 2024, so be it. Burn it down if we have to.
Run them off, set them on fire, man. Damn it, Dracarys, do it all. Because we don't have, people, and that's why people are tired of these a-holes winning.
Mm-hmm.
They're tired of these being in their face, knowing what they know, and them getting praised like they're the best thing since sliced bread. And they've been, victimizers this whole time. And you can't deny that, like, this some of the heinous stuff that came out in those documents. We're like, I don't think it went that far. I'm like, this is coming from the guy that on video is like smiling like a child on their first Christmas morning as he's egging the guy on to puke in front of him. Are you serious?
Vince famously wanted to have an incest angle with his own daughter. Don't tell me that's not true. More importantly, John Laurinaitis confirmed that it was all true. He did not disagree that the events happened.
I ain't going on that bus by myself. Whoop.
Right? So like the conversation on, well, did it really happen? That's not a conversation anymore. John Laurinaitis confirmed that it happened. He took part of it, but he felt pressured to, which is bullshit. He's no victim. He's not going to save his relationship or his career. He's done. He'll probably serve jail time. At least at the very least, he should. So just be ready to deal with the insufferable morons that will refuse to admit, no, it's all bullshit. No.
Everybody's favorite vanilla gorilla was basically all but named.
And I want to be like, well, I'm surprised about that. I'm not. Like, even a little. You have to, like, usually there's something wrong inside of you as a human being. If you go into, like, the world that Brock Lesnar went into, just I think I spelled Sokola wrong.
The weirdest thing too, and I'm pretty sure I wouldn't be surprised. You can't rule out that it might not come up. I'm surprised actual talent haven't been linked to Vince. Female talent.
I think they will be. There definitely has to be. Some of them. Now, here's the thing. I wouldn't be surprised. Like, let's just say, as a for instance. We're not going to sit here and say for sure. Let's just say, for instance, Trish and Vince had a tete-a-tete. But it was less consensual than we would all want it to be. I'm sure they're going to be given the option to shield their names. And I don't know if they would risk outing victims. So even if there is some talent involved or had been involved, I don't think we're going to hear about it only due to the sensitivity of it all. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I would be surprised about that. Anything else on the Cody of it all?
Yeah, I mean, to your point about the comparing to the outrage of it. Look, one's semantics, and the other systematic.
Mm-hmm.
Like one's somebody, a bunch of people being butthurt about a decision that got made or series of decisions, and the other one is actual people being hurt over a number of years. Like it's not the same thing. Cody will be fine. He is the guy. He's on the cover of the thing. He is their guy right now. There's and talk about somebody that's likely, probably about as far away from scandals you can get certainly in terms of stuff we talk about with Vince. But I'm like, he'll be fine. He's gonna get the belt eventually, multiple times over, both of them, or just one of them, whatever have you. It doesn't matter. He'll be fine. These situations need to be rectified now.
I think most fans are just upset that this is happening to Cody during what should be a very important time of the year for him, Black History Month.
I was also about like I'm so tired. Dude, like that this assertion about Cody being black is such a tired thing. I'm like, no, it's not.
No,
No,
it's
it's
not.
not. No, and I was talking about this with James or do the Truth in the show with. I'm like, I've never really been that huge person with this whole finish the story thing. I'm like, and looking at this now, the comedy that's coming along with him not finishing it may end up being better than what he actually does. Because the memes, the comedy fodder has just been exquisite.
Just seeing him superimposed in like a Dr. King speech or like walking with Malcolm X. Oh God, it's so good. It's so good. And it's not because he's black. It's because he solved racism.
I'm surprised nobody superimposed his head on the dude's shoulders from Django that was with Jamie. Dr. Schultz, if you would allow me to go into my pocket.
I mean, isn't that basically who he is? All right, let's move on to greener pastures. Uh, WWE kind of cluster right now, right? TNA on the other hand, most goodwill I've seen in some time. We have Jordan Grace in the Royal Rumble. Then she's campaigning for the return of the six-sided ring. Now, I don't know if she's ever wrestled in the six-sided ring. I don't know if she'd be campaigning for it as much had she wrestled in one. Maybe she did in Mexico. But there were plans to bring back the six-sided ring in 2020 before the pandemic started. Not permanently, but for that weekend set of shows at WrestleMania. So maybe that ends up happening. Maybe it doesn't. Who knows? It's going to be a wild ride to see if that happens. Again, bringing back the six-sided ring. Dolph Ziggler, Nick Nemeth made his debut. I like his Most Wanted Man moniker. That's fantastic.
I like his theme.
His theme's pretty dope. The system with Moose on top is fantastic. I just watched an episode of Explosion today. Swan main evented. I don't know what they're doing with Swan. I think they're building up to a nice story with him and AJ Francis, which I'm interested to see go. That was pretty tight. What was the open? Rhino versus Champagne Singh. I just seeing Explosion back is great. What I would say about Explosion, I like there being two matches. I like there being an interview segment, and I like there being some recap stuff. What I would like to see is instead of doing the throwback match, I would like to see them do like a spin cycle situation or like a TNA Today, like just updating people on stuff. I don't feel like a 10-minute throwback to a main event from 15 years ago is really the end all be all of it, of like entertainment. Now, who's to say that Explosion is going to be a huge success anyway? So it's like it doesn't really matter. And would having a segment like Spin Cycle or TNA Today or what have you, would that really improve things? Maybe not, but TNA's found its success early on because of its commitment to the internet. It was the first wrestling outlet to appear on YouTube. At least major outlet. Maybe there was Joe Schmo's Emporium of wrestle stuff. But as far as like an actual brand with legitimacy, it was TNA. And I'd like to see them put some effort in Explosion and make it a secondary show, kind of the way AEW did, as talks start to kind of bubble that maybe, just maybe, there's going to be a new TV deal coming down the pipeline. That's the rumor. No concrete evidence to support that. I'm just saying there's a possibility. Marcus, any thoughts on the current TNA product as a whole?
It's great. It's booming. This is the hottest it's been in years. It's the most amount of eyes it's gotten on it in years. Shout out to those. I think Hard to Kill has some good buys with it, and whatnot. They've earned their name back fully. Like I said, the rebrand has been really good. They got some good names on the roster. Got some good momentum going with story narrative. I mean, just the fact that we talked about all those multi-man tag team matches, particularly with the championship, and now they're actually doing something that I've been calling for a minute, and that they should do. Now they're doing like a best of three series between the Grizzled Young Vets and ABC.
Mm-hmm.
That's gonna be brilliant. Just the aggression of the heels to the faces and whatnot. And, Nick Nemeth as an addition, great. Like you said, love his most wanted man. Love his theme song. The fact that Macklin came out there as the first aggressor. Like, look, dude, I'm not finna come here and let you just eat off this place and then move on. Because, I had to come here and build myself because of, what happened to me in the previous. And I'm finna let you just come here, and briefly date and then pass on like so many others. So it's been great across the board. And all they got to do is just stay doing what they're doing. Stay scandal free. Don't pick up no doofuses or no, dummies. Yeah. And they'll be fine, man.
Yeah, no Matt Riddles.
Yeah, I
I'd
don't.
stay away from that. Let Matt Riddle and guys like Bobby Fish be MLW's problem. Go get. I know. You mentioned that Booker's pushing for Fatu to go to WWE. Booker doesn't strike me as the most reliable agent for somebody. After all, his home country of Africa. I have to find that clip. I did not imagine it. That clip exists somewhere.
Oh,
One of these days, I'm going to go through late 2008 all the way to like
wait,
mid
wait,
2009
wait.
Impact to
That
find it.
happened to WWE or TNA? TNA,
TNA.
right?
TNA.
Oh,
Because it was when he
during
started
his
doing his
Mafia
African
days, right?
accent.
During his Mafia days?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, it got to be. Dude, it got to be on YouTube. It got to be.
I've searched it on YouTube. I may need to go and watch every Booker T segment for like a year before I find it. Because I think it was in like mid to late 2008, either right before, during, or after the Samoa Joe feud, right when he turned heel. I'm pretty sure.
I'm surprised with all just the sheer amount of content, that they put on their channel with just, the history, that they haven't just done a compilation of all the main event Mafia segments.
You'd think. But I think this may have been before the Mafia. I remember Charmel being in the ring. But that's all I remember of the segment. And him going, in my home country of Africa. And I'm just like,
You know what? I
what?
think you're right. I think you're right because I think he might have toned it down when he got with the Mafia.
I think he did. I think he did. I think it was like late 2008, maybe the summer of 2008. I don't remember.
Yeah, because I don't know if you can have that going on at the same time, Steiner. Yo, speaking of this whole thing with Vince, there was this moment where Kurt Angle was talking or whatever, and all of a sudden the cops came into the room and Steiner was like, she was 18.
My favorite, I forget who it was. It may have been Matt Morgan or like Hernandez. But like the face is talking, and then you just see Scott Steiner's head poke out from the court curtains and going, "You're a fat ass! Shut up!" And like he goes back into the curtain. So, 2008, 2009 TNA was unhinged, and I loved
Man.
it. All right, Marius, we're at the end of the show. Anything else that caught your eye that you want to mention before we head out?
Shout out to Blue Justice itself, right?
No, not Blue Justice. Yuji Nagata, not Yuji Nagata. Kojima.
Oh yeah, yeah. As soon as I saw that, I was like Kojima.
Kojima, Larry, it's me, CM Punk. I am just fucking with you.
I was like, oh, look at that. That's great. Shout out to MLW doing some very interesting things. Wish you could say the same for NWA, but apparently they are in their like Impact World Title Series mode right now.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm looking forward to when TNA buys out the NWA, brings in some of their bigger names. Like I like Odinson, I like EC3. Some of the women there I think have talent, just need to be polished a bit, given a
yeah,
different gimmick. They have some names that I think would be very interesting with better hands. But
yeah.
I think the NWA is going to be gone by the end of the year.
I
I
mean,
think
they've
Billy
had
Corgan has fucked it so hard that the only thing that's left is the
yeah.
chunks of rubber that he was using to satisfy himself.
I was gonna ask, like, what do you think hurt it, more long term, the consistency of the bad business decisions by Corgan, or just Tyrus's run in itself. But then again, I guess you can all incorporate it as the same thing. So
Yeah, and that's the thing. When it comes down to it, the NWA has been so poorly managed since Billy Corgan bought it, that it never had a shot. Because just kind of keep this in mind. They had Eli Drake. They had Eddie Kingston. They had James
Rick,
Storm.
Ricky Starks.
Ricky Starks. They had most of AEW's upper mid card. And they all left. Why? It wasn't because AEW was just so much bigger and better and more promising. It was because, one, AEW could afford him. Two, they knew Billy Corgan wasn't it. If you know like think about Nick Aldis, he was getting paid. I don't know how much he's getting paid. He was getting paid a lot because AEW, TNA, I'm sure some Japanese promotions all offered him deals. He never took them until he got fed up with Billy Corgan. When you lose the face of your franchise, for whatever reason, when you lose them, it better not be for any other reason than he just decided or she just decided they wanted to try a new challenge. Otherwise, it's going to severely harm your business. It happened with Styles and Sting in 2014, and it happened again with Nick Aldis in 2023.
Yeah, and I don't get the impression, even with all everything that's been said and done since, I don't get the impression that that's something he actually wanted to do. But I think the business decisions that got made, just turned him off so much that doing anything else seemed like a complete improvement, and that sucks. And I gotta say that I'm happy to be wrong about uh, Aldis's future because he's thriving in that role as SmackDown GM. Uh,
I hope he comes back to the ring. I know not everyone was a big Aldis fan. I was.
yeah,
I think he could do a lot of good for that company. So
yeah.
that's my hope for 2024. Next week, good idea. We will talk about all the goings on with TNA, all the non-major wrestling news that you need to know. We'll
Hmm.
touch on the bigger story should we need to. But next week, Marcus, I think we should do. I don't want to put a list on it, but like 5, 10, 15 things we want to see happen in 2024.
With
That's next week.
wrestling in general, TNA.
Wrestling in general, but
Got
TNA can be the focus if you want. Like that. That's entirely up to you. But
gotcha.
like, I would love to see Fatu and Hammerstone and Holiday and Alex Kane all pop up in TNA. I think that would be incredible.
What is going on with Camille, real quick? Is she in AEW or what's going there? What's going on
I
there?
don't know. Last I heard, she had feelers out from both WWE and AEW, and I would be flabbergasted if TNA wasn't involved to some degree. But right now, no decision has been made. I think she was. I think she took part in a WWE tryout recently within the last couple months. But again, like I don't know off the top of my head. That would be a very interesting story to watch develop though over the next couple of months. Because where she lands is going to be impressive. But I think just like with Jade, I think Camille has a lot she needs to work on. I don't think her or Jade are ready for the big time yet. And I think the one thing that's holding them both back is that they're not getting a lot of work outside of major incidents. Like they need to like grind out in Japan and on the indies.
Yeah, it's interesting because they mentioned something, obviously with the release of Montez and Bianca's new reality series, which I'm looking forward to checking out. There was a lot of talk about, obviously they had that standoff in the ring and the crowd was crazy. And both of them talked about whether they'll cross from each other, standing with each other, they go create magic. And to your point, if obviously because they're looking to get her on TV and under a brand soon, do you think, talking about her not being ready and growing, do you think, because if they got to get out there, her being in a tag team with somebody as polished as Bianca is at this point, could benefit her and growing while continuing to hide the flaws?
Yes, but the concern I have is that you will hold or even harm Bianca's spotlight. I think the better opportunity, because while I think this individual is talented, I don't think she's a headliner. And that would be Trinity. I think pairing Trinity with Jade would make a lot more sense. Because it would give Jade something to do with a name. It would give Trinity something that she can hang her hat on. And it would allow Bianca not to be pulled down. Because I believe Bianca's in the top four of the women talent, at least in terms of popularity and notoriety in the WWE, maybe even the top two.
Yeah.
And I feel like putting her with a rookie is too risky. And I'm just thinking back to like when they tried to do it with like The Undertaker, with Nathan Jones, when they tried to do it with the bastard Chris Benoit, and they paired him with Brent Albright. They don't work. Like that doesn't work because the name of the person you're putting them with is too big. Alex Riley failed with The Miz. You know, Paul Buchanan failed with John Cena. Matt Morgan, when he was a heavy for Jim Cornette, I feel like is the good one-to-one. So you want to find someone who is notable, noteworthy, known, but isn't such a kind of a what's one like a gravitational pull so big that they get kind of crushed in the atmosphere. And I feel
Yeah.
like that would happen to Jade with Bianca because as much as AEW tried, Jade never looked great. Her stature, her presentation, that did. But in the ring, she was a bore. And I think you need to realize that with Jade going forward and finding a way to bring out her natural athleticism, bring out the things that make her work, you know, amplify that and go full gear with that. But until you can find 400 matches for her to have over the next few years, I don't know if she's going to get much better. Because that's kind of been the thing. Jade Cargill came with so much, you know, pomp and circumstance, and she had nothing to show for it. Like she had no name, she had no experience prior to her arrival on AEW, and then she, you know, just wrestled every so often, and that didn't help her situation. And I'm concerned that that's going to happen on the main roster, and we're going to get another Eva Mendes or Eva Torres or Eva Marie. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of, Eva Marie. Situation where someone with a lot of potential, a lot of marketability, just does not have it once they hit the main roster. And you're seeing it kind of with Lexis King down in NXT. A lot of people don't get the hype around him right now.
Yeah, and that I don't know how much that look is helping. I mean, it's a look. And I understand you want to, I guess, differentiate him from his father, obviously, and however that goes from a character gimmick perspective. But I don't know. Maybe it's just one of those things where it's just gonna take him linking up with the right person or whatnot. But he's being showcased. It's just when it's kind of an eye roll right now anytime he's on screen. So. But yeah, I was about to say maybe she could do what they did with Ryback, but I feel like that's what they tried to do in AEW as well. So uh, who knows? It's just gonna be a time thing with Jade. But she certainly had, like you said, she got everything but that in ring because when that music hit for Royal Rumble, it was a roar. But like you said, it's from bell to bell. That's gonna really be the test.
And we'll see more throughout the year with her, that's for sure. All right, Marcus, let's wrap it up.
All right.
RealNerdCorp.com, RealNerdCorp.com. We're on Twitter at NERDCORP. Marcus, you can be found on Twitter at ParadoxKid, ParadoxKid.
That is me.
You can also find him on his other podcast that I briefly mentioned before, The True Penny Show, TruePennyShow. Check them out. That's their Twitter handle. They post all their shows to Twitter through various links, so that's the best way to keep up with them throughout the weeks. You can find me on Twitter at Chad Nerdcorp, CHED, and on the Instagram at Chad's Photo at CHEDSPHOTOHUT. We'll be back next week. We're going to do Tuesdays for the live show for the foreseeable future. We may change up the date come the late spring, early summer, and we may change up the time then as well. But for the next 2 or 3 months, Tuesday at 9 is going to be our new start point on twitch.tv/Wrestling Underground. So be sure to follow us along there for the rest of the winter and into the spring. For Marcus Green, I'm Chad Portal. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for checking us out. Thanks for giving us a chance. Remember, as always, to watch more wrestling. And remember, as always, to watch more wrestling. Well, I think I fucked that up. It doesn't matter. Marcus, take us out.
Good night.